I'm actually crazy excited for this fight because if you're an MMA diehard, you actually have some idea who Fabio Cherant really is, right? We saw him on the Dana White Contender Series. He lost to Alexa Kammer. That was kind of a devastating loss for his fans. But at the end of the day, he came right back. He went to LFA. He ended up winning the title just like a month ago against Myron Dennis. And within the last year, he lost his mom. And prior to that, in his LFA fight, he actually lost his uncle during the fight week. So this man has been through a lot for his age. And I think that for where he's at in his career, for winning the LFA title the way he did, for being able to now step into this fight short notice, I mean, he has one of the biggest opportunities to turn his life around completely. And I think he's shown such amazing poise for his age, for the losses that he's had to suffer, not just in the cage, but, in real life. He's just come away with such a good head and watching, some of the, I guess, behind the scenes footage that LFA has out on him during his reign, I guess, prior, during, and as champion. It's actually quite amazing to watch, what this kid's accomplished since losing on the Dana White Contender Series, because that's his only loss. And when you look at Alonzo Menifield, you're kind of, hoping that he still is improving on the cardio and he's starting to look like the guy that can go 3 rounds and not just that Dana White Contender Series knockout artist in the first round, because right now he's starting to get typecasted, right? And I think Fabio Cherant has an absolutely amazing opportunity to prove some of the critics wrong. Now, flip side, short days, like within the week, short notice, didn't look so great on the scale. I mean, he didn't look like he was unhealthy or anything, but I think he was 3/4 of a pound off. He took off his underwear, still weighed, I think it was half a pound over. So he's still got to cut that weight. They were given an hour. I mean, we're going to be able to see if he cuts that weight anytime soon, but I still think he's got a chance in this fight, man. If he brings the striking that I saw in the title fight, I think that he has the ability to maybe work in some takedowns and grind this fight. Alonzo Menifield, clearly, we all know that it's just the cardio that we need to see a little bit more from. I think that when you look at some of his previous fights, even the 2 losses, I think that his most, amazing win is the Paul Craig finish, right? But he couldn't really follow that up with anything big. And so he kind of falls back down into this area where he's got to take on some newcomers or get a guy that might have to come in on short notice. And I think that TheSookyMMA camp is just growing bigger. It's getting better. And I think he's going to be one of those guys that grow from that. But again, Vincent improves on his way out, and that's your last loss back in September. That's one of those things that is a little bit of a, pause for concern for me because he knocked you out. And if you look at the previous fight to Devin Clark, I mean, that was a great fight. But at the same time, these are 2 fights, over the last year where I really believe that he has improved in those specific areas where it makes him that next level fighter. And so right now he's going to be able to get a fight where not like he's back to the drawing board, but he can actually now implement some of the things that he's learned in these previous fights where he's kind of been thrown to the wolves, right? Prior to this, he was a 9-0 fighter and took both losses in the UFC. So that is some of the most respectable things you can expect from, an MMA fighter who's just getting thrown in there after the Dana White Contender Series performance. So I think that, when you look at what he's done leading into that, LFA fights, won the Dana White Contender Series, knocked out Paul Craig. I mean, the guy deserves a lot of credit for what he's accomplished already. But again, if the power doesn't happen in that first round, what's the game plan? What are you capable of doing for the next 2 rounds to be able to secure that win? Because chances are you might be a really great first round fighter, but you got to do what it takes to win those next 2 rounds if you're not able to finish the first. And so I know I personally love these fighters that seem to wake up, after the first minute and a half, 2 minutes of the first round, because they seem to just get better and better as the fight goes on. Max Holloway, Jose Aldo is probably one of the best ones, right? I mean, one of the worst first round fighters of all time. But, I think that this is an example where Fabio Cherant just has a lot to prove. And I think this is a great fight where Cherant can actually prove that he belongs in the UFC and not just whether it's on short notice or not, right? Put up a great fight against a guy like Alonzo Menifield, who has proven track record in the UFC and against this type of competition. It's a big deal. And this is one of the fights I'm looking forward to the most because I actually looked into Fabio Cherant so much leading into this fight. I think it's going to be really fun. I think we're going to enjoy the energy that both these guys bring. Fabio Cherant's obviously going to be hoping to make that weight and kind of make his mark on the UFC, but plus 225 dog against the minus 275 favorite in Alonzo Menifield. I mean, I gotta say, like, as a fan, I just want this to be an exciting fight. But for a guy like Fabio Cherant, who's had the year that he's had, the title, losing his mom, then his uncle, during a fight week, these are all things that as a fan, you kind of just want to jump in and reap that emotion and just wish the man the best. So I think both these guys are going to throw. I think that if Fabio Cherant's, chin and defense, his movement's been really good. I think that's what really helped him against in the Dennis fight. So I think that winning that title is probably the biggest thing that's, pushed him into the UFC now, getting this fight on short notice. just put up a great fight, kid. And I think you're going to be here to stay. And there's a lot to expect from both these guys. So let's hope that it's the under and it's a big finish. But if it's a 3-round fight, don't be surprised.